Jumbo Rafiki Kenyans, side here. Hope all's going well. Currently in America, it is raining. Hopefully in Kenya, or if you guys are around the world, if you're experiencing, if you guys are found this wonderful channel, found the wonderful worlds of this channel, hope all's going well. Right now, things are going well, and yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So in this unit, we're going to be discussing about operation and bike principles. Welcome to this unit. Today we're going to be talking about 4 essential bike parts of the bike for today. 4 out of 8 bike parts we're going to be discussing that are essential for the bike to operate correctly. Now, first off, let's begin. So we have the very first part of our bike is the bike chain. Now, in these parts, please know that we're going to be discussing about the function, their facts, their history, and we'll talk about some other things that are crucial about each bike part. So the very first part is the bike chain. The function of that is to transfer power from the pedals to the rear wheel to allow the bike to go moving forward. In terms of a fun fact, the bike chain lasts between 2,000 to 3,000 miles, which shows how much time duration the bike can last when moving forward in a very heavy amount of time. In terms of a fun fact, the joining pins allow the bike chains to it holds the bike chain together essentially. In terms of the history, the bikers actually, in fun fact, in the bike history, bikers haven't actually replaced these chains because if they did, then they would essentially replace it with shaft and belts. And these shaft and belts are very inefficient for the bike to operate smoothly and operate, efficiently. In terms of the chain tension, now the chain tension helps compensate for the vibration of the bike to when it's moving forward. Chain tension prevents the value and increases the wear of the bike chain. If the bike chain is too light, the chain is going to lose lubricant. As you can see in this diagram, we'll talk about this diagram actually. And if the chain is too loose, the chain will vibrate and is damaged. You can see over here that the chains that's too tight will essentially require extra power because there's a loss of lubricant. And that will basically, that means you're going to put too much power on the bike, which is not good. In terms of if the chain is too loose, it's going to vibrate. And the chain is essentially going to damage, which is going to risk bikers' safety when biking their bikes essentially. We can see here that the proper formation where the sprocket centers, the correct slack, and the sprocket centers of the size. This is the essential size that we want a certain bike to be when you are essentially biking. This is the proper correct formation of the bike chains of how it is. Now let's discuss the second. Before we start discussing the second bike part, I want to show you guys a calculator of how we can calculate chain drive tension. Now this is chain drive tension. This calculator is essentially a calculator that calculates us with basically you calculate here the chain drive tension of how much compensation would occur when you're trying to how much tension as a force you're going to use to compensate the bike's vibration when it moves forward. So we have to enter the applied chain force and the chain drive angle into this calculator. So let's say, I don't know, we had 114 as the chain force. We can put this in newtons or we can put this in pounds. Let's try doing this in newtons and degrees since this is the angle. This is a reasonable amount of angles. This is the reasonable thing that they want us to do. They want to put this in force, angle, and tension. There's 79. Let's do that as the angle. And we have chain drive tension over there. Let's calculate this. Oh, please fill exact. Okay, so essentially, in this calculator, you can only calculate 2 parts. So one of them has to be missing so they can calculate it for you. So we want to calculate this in newtons, right? Let's calculate this. Let's see what we get. We get 21.7522 as a chain drive tension. Let's say I had it in radians. We'll calculate this. Hold on. Let me just give you 1 second, guys. Let's try calculating this in radians and let's see what happens. We get a negative chain drive tension. I don't think that's possible. Leave a comment down in the comments down below if you guys think the chain drive tension would be negative in this case. I want to give that a good question for you guys to kind of figure out. So we have essentially you can put this in different formations here, and then you can essentially calculate the certain parameter that you're going to calculate. You have to put 2 values in. You can't put all 3 values. They're going to calculate one of them for you. So let's say we had something to calculate like this. If they calculate this for you, if you want to find the chain drive angle, it will calculate it for you. So that might have been a little bit fast, but let's talk about the next bike part. This next bike part we're going to be talking about is chain stool and chain stay. Now the function of the chain tool, it helps break, quote unquote, quote unquote, the bicycle chain in a way that it can be mended with the same tool. The bike chainstay, the essential function is that it's basically the pair of the frame tubes allow this join to occur between the bottom bracket shell to the rear axle holders. So we can see here, this is like an image of the bicycle chainstay. We can see here that the tubes allows the bottom bracket shell to connect with the rear axle holders. And this is essentially to maintain the structural integrity of the bike. That's just pure, that's just what the pure simple definition I'm going to try to bring it towards. These two parts essentially helps maintain the structural integrity of the bike. You'll see a lot of these parts. They're here to essentially describe that there's a system that's being played in this bike and there's this structural integrity. I want you guys to know that. I want you guys to understand that. There's a structural integrity that's being maintained in the bike, and these parts help bring this system together, essentially. One of the histories over here we can talk about in the chainstay. Credits to Renault Chain Company, Swiss engineer Hans Renault, for allowing this chainstay part to occur. Now the chainstay, mathematically, the ratio, the front center of the chainstay to the rear center ratio has to be maintained properly when you are maintaining structural integrity, essentially. This is another calculator that I want you guys to know. All you guys can use in the comments section down below, or you guys can, I'll put these links down below as well. This is another calculator. This calculates for you the chainstay. You can plug in a value, I believe, and you can also calculate the amount of teeth in the largest front chainring, the largest rear cog, and the chain length, and the number of links as well. So let's try doing this right now. I think we can try maybe like 12, and then maybe 23, and maybe, I don't know, 10. So these are going to calculate the first three. You just have to calculate these three, and then they're going to calculate the chain length, the number of links, the shortest possible chain length, and then they will calculate the number of links in the shortest possible chain, and that's 65 in that case. They will basically plug in the parameters for you. So yeah. The next thing we're going to be discussing about is bike part number 3. Bike part number 3 is the bike seat post and the seat stay. This is similar because we're talking about a stay in this case, but in this case now we're switching gears, guys, into seats now. Now the bike seat post, the function is that it provides stability and support while riding, especially when the biker needs to sit down to bike. Two fun facts is that the length ranges from 75 millimeters to 400 millimeters. Another fun fact is that the bike seat post is made of aluminum and carbon fiber. Credits to Arthur Garford, who was able to construct a seat post for future generations so we can stay safe when biking. Now, in terms of the bike seat stay, the function for that is to also provide stability and support while riding. It's similar to the seat post. It provides structure and support. A fun fact is that it adds vertical compliance, tractions, and improves bike's tracking. In terms of another fun fact, there is a small rear triangle part that I want to show you guys in this diagram as well. It has a small rear triangle part that allows the stay to function. Then the history, this term was actually noted back in 1877 in a British publication, the Field magazine, that was used. This term, the seat stay, was essentially noted in this magazine, which is also something pretty cool to know. And here we can see here that this is the fun fact, the small rear triangle part. We can see this is the bike stay. We can see that there's this front triangle, this rear triangle. We can see they have this chain stay. We can see here, look at this. Notice that there's tubes and there's a chain stay and the seat stay. Top tube, braze-on, head tubes, they're all essentially being applied in a system. What I want you guys to know is that there's a system that's being portrayed here. There's a system that's being portrayed here, so that way the structural integrity and the system of the bike is essentially maintained, if that makes sense. Here we can see here that this is the seat stay. We have compression. There's a hydraulic cartridge, and there's oil flow that occurs for the bike. It's waterproof and dustproof at this part of the bike seat post. There's a height that adjusts the lever, and there's a hardness adjustment that maintains, the height of the bike, essentially. In terms of links, there is one link that I want to show you guys. This is the link for the frame. I want to show you guys the frame of the bike seat post. The bike seat post here, we can see this is a 4D frame bike. Shout out to Diego Liben, the author who made this. We can see here that this is the This is the restriction on this. This is the construction of what the frame looks like. So you can see here that you can just press this slider, and you can essentially ride the bike. The scale, essentially, you can see here that you can just like you can like move. Like you can see here, you can just click out these parts, the sprockets and the rims. You can see here that there's the tubes, and these pedals. And we can see here that it moves as well, which is also very cool. The scale of the bike changes, but you can also ride the bike, which is very cool. So I want you guys to get a good question. What is the restriction on this construction, and could you solve it? And what could you change if you wanted this bike to be a lot better? I want to leave that to you guys to figure that out. So now let's talk about the last bike part that I want to discuss with you guys, and that's going to be about bike tires, tire levers, and bike pumps. Now, the function of a bike pump is essentially that bike pumps help inflate tires so the bike can, last when you're riding. If you have a flat tire, your bike will get stuck. So please try to pump your tires beforehand. It's very crucial to do that. Bike tire levers, the function for that is that there's a slide between the tire and the rim to get the tire off, essentially. It's when you want to remove the tire if it's flat, so that way, you can replace the tire afterwards. Bike tires, the function is that it allows the bike to move forward with rubber friction. Two fun facts is that the tire parts, it is essentially made up of carcass, bed core, and rubber tread. Another fun fact about the bike tires is that the size is very, very, very crucial. A larger size of a bike, a larger bike tire and a small bike frame versus, or even like a large bike frame and a very small bike tire, that is not going to look good for offset when you're trying to bike correctly. Well, not like in the perception of people, but like when you're biking, it's not going to function correctly. So you need to make sure that size is like maintained. Credits to John Boyd Dunlop for creating these bike tires. History always creates new creativity and new knowledge when we are discovering new inventions around our world, essentially. Here's a fun fact. Let me just pull this up. Sorry if I'm pulling up links. I'm just trying to get them for you so you guys can understand really about, these bike parts. So this is a tire size chart that's essentially used. The tire size is really what kind of proper bike tires would be essentially used for a specific bike. This is a good reference table that kind of shows that. Just wanted to put that in there for you guys, just to be curious if you guys wanted to take a look at that. So now we are now in the ending of this first part of Unit 2 of bike parts. If you guys, this is the ending of the video. If you guys have any questions, feedbacks, or upcoming lessons, please feel free to email us. You guys can also contact us as well when sending questions, off-related or related. Please write the question you have, send a picture associated with the diagram, and we will respond when we have the chance. All right? So I'm just pulling up a good joke that I found. So guys, I have a good joke for today, guys, okay? What is the hardest key to turn? Can you guys guess what it is? I don't know. What is it? All right, so the answer is donkey. Get it? Donkey. Okay, if that doesn't work, leave the comment down below. Leave some good jokes give me some good joke sites that I can use maybe in future videos. But hope you guys found this helpful. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. And yeah, take care. And yeah, signing off.